Here we go. What Takes by Fans said in the offseason for the Tampa Bay Bucs, who are now in the Super Bowl. As we said, you can see we posted this video September 8th, 2020, folks. So before the season started. Here we go. This is what we had to say on the Bucs. Let's let it roll. Alrighty, so we got to finish off with the Tampa Bay Bucs, the last team in the NFC South. What did they do last year? 7-9. Well, we can't even really go off of last year because they get rid of Jameis Winston. They bring in Tom Brady. That is a major overhaul. Bruce Arians, still the head coach, good coach. He was able to kind of coach Jameis Winston to mediocre seasons after throwing 30 interceptions. So, you know, he's a good coach there. And, you know, truly good coach. Still having success with Tom Brady. I mean, he made it work, as like what we said, you know, with the 30 interceptions by Jameis Winston and still win 7-9. So, yes, Bruce Arians is definitely kind of proving that he is an elite coach. Just needs. I mean, all the coaches need pieces. Brady, Belichick, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid. I mean, we haven't really seen Andy Reid too much success. Yes, he got to some Super Bowl with the Eagles, just couldn't really get it done. And now he's got, you know, the amazing quarterback that he does, and he's winning rings consistently, basically. So yeah. Bruce Arians, good coach. You know, Tom Brady, we'll talk about him first. 61% completion percentage, kind of the lowest of his career last year. 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, so still about 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He's throwing for above 400 yards. Just the completion percentage is just a little low, but he has weapons to compensate for that. So this is all we need to know about the Bucs. This is it. This one picture, this one tweet, that gives you everything you need to know. You've got Mike Evans, tall, fast, one of the best receivers in the league. He was kind of trying to make it work with Jameis Winston throwing the ball. So now that he has, you know, the GOAT throwing to him, he's going to go wild. They have Chris Godwin, opposite side of Mike Evans, great number 2 receiver. They bring in Rob Gronkowski. We didn't even know about AB at this time, folks. Hopefully his back holds up. They bring in Leonard Fournette, and then they have LaShawn McCoy and Ronald Jones as number 2 and 3 running back. They are stacked offensively, folks. And Ronald Jones is still the number 1 running back for the Bucs. So, I mean, folks, they're just got LaShawn McCoy and Leonard Fournette as in the 2 and 3. Because they're rocking with Ronald Jones still. Jameis Winston is going to lead them at 7-9 with just Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. What is Tom Brady going to lead them with all those weapons, plus Leonard Fournette, plus Rob Gronkowski? Come on, folks. Let's not be wild here. Tom Brady still has at least one good year left in the tank, right? Well, yes, he did. He does. What do we got here for Tom Brady this season, folks? 65% completion percentage. You can bump it up to 66. I love 62 to 65. Like coming into the season, that was our metric, 62 to 65, and Tom Brady was above 65%. So magnificent there. 4,633 yards. Fantastic. Touchdown to interception ratio. 40 touchdowns, 12 picks. Tom Brady, still the GOAT, folks. Still had a fantastic season. So, yes, he still had one great season left in the tank. So, on their defense, I mean, they're good up front on the defensive line. They got Jason Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh. Shaquille Barrett at the linebacker position, but they went heavy kind of on the defensive end as well in the draft. First round pick, they do bring in an offensive tackle to kind of secure Brady. And just to go on their defense a little bit, like what we said, yes, they can stop the run very well because they got, you know, they're front loaded on the front line and they got decent linebackers. And, you know, that's kind of what we've been saying all season. The Bucs have no problem stopping the run. They did that all postseason. That's why they stopped the Packers. The Packers could not run on this Bucs team, forcing Aaron Rodgers to throw it every single play. So yes, this Bucs team, the defense, run heavy, stopping a little bit, and then in the second round they get a safety, kind of shore up that defense just a little bit more because it is kind of lacking. The offense is very good. The up front defensive line is very good. Just kind of from linebackers on, which you know you obviously need, is kind of lacking just slightly. But Bruce Arians, good coach. I expect him to kind of shore everything up defensively. He has done that. If they don't, they're not afraid to go and score 40 points a game with this offense, right? So if you can't stop them defensively, you could definitely outscore them offensively. Leonard. Alrighty, well, we just said if you can't stop them defensively, you can just outscore them offensively. So let's kind of take a look at the Bucs schedule this season and see, how many points, a game they were putting up. So here we go. Couldn't outscore the Saints in week 1, unfortunately. And then they put up 31 week 2, 38 points. Holy cow. They outscored the Chargers 38-31. So yes, they can score whenever they want. They lost to the Bears 19-20. Oh, that's a bad loss. Oh, God. You can't be losing to Mitch Trubisky. Alrighty, Packers outscored them 38-10. Holy cow. Raiders, they beat them 45-20. Giants 25-23, closer game there. Saints, they could not do anything in their second meeting, losing 3-38. And then they're back to winning. Carolina Panthers just outscored them 46 points. Holy cow. They were not afraid to put up 40 points, folks. This is 1-2 times already this season, and we got more coming. Against the Rams, 24-27, lose there. Lose against the Chiefs, 24-27. Couldn't outscore those kind of elite teams. Vikings, 26-14. And then these last couple weeks before the playoffs, folks, they were right on the money. Over the Falcons, 31-27. Detroit Lions, 47-40. Atlanta Falcons, again, 44-27. So, yes, they've put up 4 40-point games. So, we were a little right in, what we said here. They were not afraid to put up 40 points whenever they wanted. 4 games of doing that. Absolutely incredible. Fournette, 1,100 yards last year. He only did have 3 touchdowns, but they weren't using them in the red zone because it's Jacksonville, and they obviously don't use their key pieces, right? That's why they are dysfunctional. Doug Marrone. He's not a good head coach, not utilizing talent. Once again, folks, we're calling out coaches that got fired. I think we brought up Bill O'Brien last night in our kind of Chiefs refresher, and that we were just bringing up Doug Marrone here for the Bucs refresher. Yes, both those coaches got fired. So, we were right on the money. We know bad coaches when we see them, right? All right, here we go. Mike Evans, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, and that's with Jameis Winston. So, this is a huge upgrade with Tom Brady, man. You've got to love it. And they have Todd Bowles as a defensive coordinator. All right, let's do the Mike Evans thing first. So, yes, Mike Evans is a great receiver, but he really didn't elevate his play too much yards-wise, at least, of what he was doing with Jameis Winston and Tom Brady, just the differences. So we see here this season with Tom Brady, he only caught 1,000 yards, which is good. That's what you want your receivers at, 1,000 yards or more. And then he did have 13 touchdowns. So that's something that Jameis Winston really couldn't do too much with Mike Evans, as we see in 2019, 8 touchdowns, 2018, 8 touchdowns, 2017, 5 touchdowns. He did have 2 seasons where 2016 he did have 12 touchdowns, and 2014 he did have 12 touchdowns as well. So with Tom Brady, he had the most touchdowns in a season in his career. Just a yardage, one of his least yardage seasons in his career, actually his second least, with 1,000 yards. So touchdowns went up, yards really kind of, stayed at 1,000, which is good, but, the least thousands he's ever scored in his career. So a little interesting there. But he did have more touchdowns, so I guess we were right about that a little bit. He couldn't really cut it as a head coach, as we all saw with the Jets. But defensive coordinator really cut it as a head. Let's go back on this this Todd Bowles segment that we're talking about. They have Todd Bowles as a defensive coordinator. He couldn't really cut it as a head coach, as we all saw with the Jets. But defensive coordinator, definitely where he fits, and we'll see how he's able to kind of coach up this kind of lackluster defensive squad. Yeah, definitely not a lackluster defensive squad, but yeah, Todd Bowles, folks, not everybody makes a great head coach. Todd Bowles is a fantastic defensive coordinator. Folks, you have to be good at defense to get down to the Super Bowl. Yes, you can talk about the offense, but look at that defense. Picking off Aaron Rodgers, forcing the fumbles, not breaking in the red zone, forcing them to go for field goals. So we definitely praise Todd Bowles of what he did here for this season with the Bucs. Absolutely fantastic. But, if you go 7-9 with Jameis Winston, you obviously have to be better than that with bringing in Tom Brady, right? And they were. Right. What was it, 11-5 officially? Is that their record? Let's quickly bring this up. And we got their schedule here. So, yeah, 11-5 this season. Definitely a big upgrade over Jameis Winston. Not, 7-9, 8-8 like they were with Jameis Winston. So, yeah, Tom Brady, 3 games better than Jameis Winston because he doesn't turn the ball over all the time. All right, now we're going to start breaking down their schedule, and now we can start seeing, if our official predictions were right or wrong. Here we go. All right, so let's just get right into it. let's just get right into it now. Their schedule, they probably split against the Saints. As I said, the Saints win the home opener. They probably don't. So Saints win the home opener. I mean, they did not split against the Saints. They had trouble against the Saints in both meetings, as we saw. First meeting, obviously, you know, with Tom Brady, first time in the system in game speed. They lose against the Saints 23-34. And then that second meeting against the Saints wasn't any better, only putting up 3 points. That will never get it done. So they did not split against the Saints. They lost both games against the Saints. But they beat the Panthers, and they'll beat them twice. They'll beat the Broncos. They'll beat the Chargers. Alrighty, they'll beat the Panthers, we said, and we said they would beat them twice, and they would beat the Broncos and Chargers. So let's see what they did against these teams. They beat the Panthers once, 31-27, and then they beat them twice. Yes, all right, so they beat them both twice. They beat the Broncos. They beat the Chargers. Now we have another loss here coming up with the Bears. Let's see what we said about that. I have not prefaced this. I have not watched this, but I'm assuming I said they beat the Bears because it's Mitch Trubisky, folks. I wasn't buying into him in the preseason. I don't think so. We'll see. Let's see. They'll beat the Bears. They'll beat the Bears. No, they think they'll beat the Green Bay Packers. I just don't like that defense of Green Bay. I don't think they have any real good pieces, and I think kind of their perception is a little inflated with that 13-3 record that they did last season. So I think they beat the Packers. Alrighty, the Packers. Did they beat the Packers? Yes, they did, 38-10. So, yes, that defense of the Packers that we mentioned did not show up that game, 38 points that they let up. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Giants. They beat the Saints the second time around. They beat the Panthers. Alrighty, they beat the Giants and the Raiders and the Giants. We know, obviously, they don't beat the Saints, and we do know that they beat the Panthers for the second time. So, we said they beat the Giants and they beat the Raiders. Let's double-check that. Against the Raiders, they win 45-20. Against the Giants, they win 25-23. So we're right on that. Let's keep it going. Obviously not hard to get right, but the Rams team going to be a little interesting there, but I think they win it. They are at home against the Chiefs, but I mean it's the Chiefs, so we have to give them a loss there. Alrighty. Once again, you know. Alrighty, so we said that they would lose against the Chiefs. That was correct, but we also said they would lose or they would win against the Rams, and they lost. So one right there because it's the Chiefs. We knew the Chiefs were good coming into the the preseason. At home for the Vikings, we can give them a win there. They beat the Falcons. They beat them twice, and then they beat the Lions. So once again, like a 13-3 record. Is that? Did I count it? I think I counted. I didn't count all their wins. So you have them losing against the Saints. We have them losing against the Chiefs. Is that it? Are they going 14-2? Yeah, I think they might go 14-2, man. 14-2, jeez. 14-2, I think. Yep. We didn't factor in, you know, the week one loss of trying to get it figured out and all that stuff. So a little high, a little ambitious on this 14-2 prediction. We'll mark it 14-2 for this Bucs squad. Marked it officially. When you've got Tom Brady and you've got that great supporting offensive cast, I mean, and then you're throwing in games like the Raiders and the Giants and the Bears and the Broncos. The Bears, oh no, folks, throwing in games like the Raiders and the Bears. They lost to the Bears. Oh, that's the one black mark on their record this season. They should not have lost against the Bears. Oh boy, they're going to eat. They only have to face the Chiefs. They have to face the Saints twice. This Vikings game could kind of give them a little bit of trouble. I'm not really sure how I feel about the Rams just quite yet. Yeah, looking like 14-2. You can make the argument for 13-3, obviously, or even 12-4. But I mean, still making the playoffs. We even went down to 12-4, potentially not even 11-5. So still wrong there. Damn it. Contending in the division. But we'll have it marked at 14-2. I mean, just the offense is it's incredible, obviously. Kind of matching up with the Saints a little bit. The Saints just have a tougher schedule with non-conference opponents, having to face the 49ers and the Chiefs. So, yeah, we'll have Bucs winning the division at 14-2, Saints claiming a wild card at 13-3. Unfortunate. So we said they would win the division at 14-2. Unfortunate. They did not win the division, and they did not go 14-2. So a little off the mark there with the predictions. Yeah, we thought they'd be a little bit more better against the Saints. The fact that they lost both against the Saints, that wasn't that promising. But hey, now they're in the Super Bowl. So, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't even matter. Lose those games against the Saints doesn't matter. You're here. You're in the big game. You beat them the third time. You beat the Saints the third time. So very well done to this Bucs team for what they were able to accomplish first season with Brady.